Dr. Phil just shocked America with a bold statement, taking aim at the extremes of woke culture. His blunt words have sparked a heated debate, leaving many speechless and challenging the current social climate.
You should be able to talk about whatever you want to talk about and have an exchange of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. It doesn't work that way. When you put out something that is at odds with the agenda is intolerant.
Following his impactful introduction, Dr. Phil didn't stop there. He moved on to critique the growing intolerance in today's dialogue. Dr. Phil emphasized the difficulty of having an open conversation in the current environment, pointing out that voicing opinions that go counter to particular objectives often results in intolerance. He highlighted that rather than promoting dialogue, advocates supporting these agendas often silence those who have opposing opinions.
Something on Twitter or says something in an interview that is offensive to some group, and all of a sudden you start reading the messages they get. It's like, I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch. I'll cut your throat. I'll come to your house and kill your children. Are you kidding me?
Building on this point, Dr. Phil also delved into the dangers of social media backlash, where disagreement often turns hostile. He brought up the severe backlash that individuals often encounter online when they voice beliefs that are offensive to certain communities. He spoke about the ease with which angry and aggressive remarks may turn into violent threats on social media when individuals express themselves without filter.
Some of these maybe are obvious, but if you know why some of these are on the list now.
Mom and dad, I see why that would be up there.
So why would mom and dad be up there?
I have a daughter with another woman, and when it's being taught in school that, that's just the norm, that it's just mom and dad, it kind of offends us.
But it's not just online discourse that Dr. Phil critiqued. The conversation took a turn when he questioned why certain common phrases have become controversial. The psychologist Dr. Phil asked why certain words that used to sound so innocent, like mom and dad, are now seen as contentious. Though he questioned the logic of designating some family phrases as problematic, he acknowledged that some of the things on the list could make sense.
With another woman, and when it's being taught in school that, that's just the norm, that it's just mom and dad, it kind of offends us because we are lesbians, you know what I mean? We come from the community, and it makes us feel like we're not important enough to be called mom and mom or parents.
However, not everyone agrees with Dr. Phil's take. One guest on the show shared her personal experience as a lesbian mother, highlighting a different perspective. A lesbian mother who appeared as a guest on Dr. Phil described how the focus on mom and dad in schools might seem exclusive. They believe that it undermines the legitimacy of non-traditional families and lessens their sense of significance or recognition.
Something on Twitter or says something in an interview that is offensive to some group, and all of a sudden you start reading the messages they get. It's like, I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch. I'll cut your throat. I'll come to your house and kill your children. Are you kidding me?
Yet, the broader issue of intolerance reappeared when Dr. Phil once more discussed the troubling nature of internet backlash. Dr. Phil emphasized the unsettling aspect of internet backlash when those expressing disagreeable opinions often get violent and derogatory threats. He stressed how people on social media often go well beyond reasoned debate and instead respond in an emotional and opposed manner.
It should be counsel culture, not cancel culture. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let me educate you. Maybe you don't understand. Maybe when you do, you won't agree, but let's talk about this.
I think it's social media. I think it's echo chambers. I think it's people having the ability to discuss things without any social interaction. They're not looking at each other.
Rather than embracing cancel culture, Dr. Phil proposed that we embrace counsel culture. Open dialogue and education, in his opinion, might increase understanding. Even when beliefs remain unchanged, Conversation promotes development and gives courteous disagreement a platform instead of stifling it.
The left and the right, and talk about what we agree on, everybody would agree we want America to be the number one country in the world. We want to be the leading superpower, the leading educational power, the leading in technology, everything, right? Everybody would agree to that. If we want to be the healthiest country.
Despite the differences, Dr. Phil noted that both sides of the political spectrum share common goals for America's success. Everyone has the same goal of success and greatness. They want to see the country flourish as a worldwide leader in fields like power, technology, and education.
People who hate the truth are because they see the truth as hateful. If you want to identify in any way you can, you're free to do so. But that does not mean that the rest of us have to join that illusion. You disagree, I disagree with you, and so you call it hate. But there's no hate in my heart at all.
According to Dr. Phil, some individuals consider the truth to be nasty because it contradicts their beliefs. He emphasized that while everyone is entitled to identify whichever they choose, this does not require others to accept or share that viewpoint, which may result in hate crimes being accused when differences of opinion occur.
They're using trigger warnings for Romeo and Juliet, where they say, trigger warning, suicide content. Well, spoiler alert. Come on. Kind of gave the storyline away.
In a lighter moment, Dr. Phil humorously pointed out the absurdity of trigger warnings for classic literature like Romeo and Juliet because of its themes of suicide. He pointed out in a lighthearted way that the warning seemed pointless since everyone who knows the narrative would already be aware of its terrible outcome.
And you will find that the vast majority, overwhelming body of literature says trigger warnings not only don't work,
Make you weaker.
they actually make you anxious. They actually create the problem that they were designed to avoid. Now, here's why they don't work.
Due to a wealth of studies, trigger warnings often have the opposite impact from what is intended, as Dr. Phil pointed out. Rather than providing safety, they have the potential to increase worry and increase vulnerability, which ultimately reinforces the same problems they're meant to avoid.
Look that up and find it. So can every university that's employing them. So why are they doing it anyway? Because they're virtue signaling. They're wanting to seem like, I am super woke here. I'm really sensitive. I'm protecting all of the students and creating a safe place.
Yet, despite the research, universities continue using these warnings, which Dr. Phil sees as more about virtue signaling than real protection. He questioned why, in spite of the findings, institutions still use inadequate risk warnings. It's more about virtue signaling, he said, trying to be socially aware by providing a safe space, than it is about really meeting the scholastic requirements of the students.
On the bandwagon, they don't even know what they're talking about. They just see somebody jumping on somebody's ass. They go, hey, this is great. This will be fun.
Pile on.
Yeah. And they don't even know what they're talking about. And people's lives get ruined. And that's not solving a problem.
Finally, Dr. Phil focused on the fact that people frequently join the outrage train before fully comprehending the problem. They observe others assaulting someone and join in, believing it's entertaining or popular, pouring on criticism without understanding the facts or context. Dr. Phil's bold insights challenge us to rethink free speech and cancel culture. Whether you agree or not, it sparks important conversations. Share your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the dialogue going.